Sleeves here with the Senior Pickleball Report, powered by TNC Network. Let's get it going. Okay, today on our People of Pickleball episode, we have Michael White, the man behind the Dinkaroo, which you can see here. Incredible little net. You can just pop it up anywhere you want to go. Pretty cool design. But, you know, all things like that, they seem simple. But there's a lot of backstory to that. So we're going to talk to Michael about how he came up with and designed and got that design implemented for the Dinkaroo. But before we get to that, if you like this channel, consider subscribing. Check out all the links and the discounts for paddles and apparel, shoes, you name it. There are discounts below. Check out our website as well. We have a newsletter that you can subscribe to. Check out our merch page. All the links in the description. All right, folks, let's get to that conversation with Michael White, the man behind the Dinkaroo.
Hey, from the Dinkaroo, one of my favorite new training tools out there, we have the man behind the Dinkaroo, Michael White. Welcome to the Senior Pickleball Report, Michael.
Awesome. Thanks, Sleeves. I'm happy to be here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into the Dinkaroo in a minute because it is super fun, very convenient. I've shared it with a bunch of people, and they're like, "What is this?" in this little case, and it just pops up, and they're like, "Hey, we can practice while we're waiting." But obviously, before you got into all of that, you got into pickleball somehow. So give us a little bit of a background about how this wacky wiffle ball game sort of took over your life and made you create a business.
Yeah, no, I've been a fan of pickleball for a while. I actually started tennis. I'm one of those, but started in tennis, played tennis through all my childhood into my adult life. But when I met my wife, actually, 10 years ago, we went down to southern Utah, St. George, Utah. It's just north of Las Vegas. Big pickleball scene now. At the time, there wasn't pickleball as much 10 years ago, but we went down south and met her grandparents. And her grandparents had a pickleball court in their yard. And I was like, what is this thing? Like, I've never seen it before. We went out there and we played and had a good time. And then a few weeks later, I was back down there with my family. And so we called up her grandparents and they're like, hey, can we come check out the pickleball again? You know, just to introduce it to my father and to my brother. And we went over and they were gracious enough to let us play. And we played, you know, wooden paddles. That's all they had were some wooden paddles, and we had a riot. And my dad fell in love with it because, you know, he was like, I don't have room in my yard for a tennis court, and we're all tennis players. And he goes, I have room in my yard for a pickleball court. So we went home, and a few months later, my dad put in a pickleball court, and that was, you know, 10 years ago. So I've been playing just off and on for fun. Honestly, since COVID, I started playing a lot more in the community. Got more into it, regularly playing, you know, weekly, but just have loved it. And, you know, it's such a great sport. Love how it brings everybody together. People can pick it up and play all different levels, but they can be competitive and fun too. So great sport, and happy to say I've been playing for a little while.
Yeah, you're technically an OG when it comes to pickleball, man. I mean, I've probably interviewed 130, 140 people, and I can count on probably two hands the amount of people that played before COVID. And
Yep.
you're one of those. So you've seen, obviously, everything from starting with a wood paddle and finding people to play with to probably waiting for a court and seeing $200-300 paddles in a very short period of time. Has the growth of the sport, it's had to surprise you in some level. I can't imagine anybody really saw this coming.
No, it's been shocking. And, you know, it was funny because about 4 years ago, I moved to Idaho for a few years for work for a couple of years. And when I moved up there, you know, pickleball was taken off, and it was harder to find a court here in Salt Lake. I mean, there were some, but it was a little harder. In Idaho, there were some. Then we moved back, and there's courts everywhere. And the other problem, Sleeves, is they're always full. It doesn't matter where you go at night. If you go after work, it will be full. No matter what you do, you're going to be waiting for a court. And, you know, even if there's 12 courts at the park, all of them are taken and there's people waiting. But it's, you know, very fun community, but it's very busy and very crowded now because everybody's finding out how awesome it is.
Yeah. Right. And, you know, obviously you've mentioned community, and community is a big part of the game. And, I think there's a lot of kind of community going on in between the games themselves because, like you mentioned, people are waiting for courts. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing obviously to get into this game and play it. It's another thing to start a business. So give
Yep.
me a little bit of the background of sort of the idea behind the Dinkaroo, and the conceptualizing of the product itself too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that kind of what we're talking about leads right into how the Dinker was born. A couple of years ago, I was out playing, went to a park. We have a few big parks here, 16 plus courts, public parks, and went and played, and they were all full. I was with my brother, and we were sitting there waiting for a court to open up or to challenge somebody for a court, and finally we were able to get
Right.
ready to challenge, and I was like, I haven't played. I've been sitting at work all day. I haven't hit the ball at
Right.
all. And I jumped right out there and had to try to play to, win and keep playing on the courts. And I was thinking to myself, it'd be awesome to have a mini net that I can warm up on right here on the sidewalk. And I went and looked online, of course, I was like, okay, let's go buy one. And there were some mini nets on the market at the time, and they're awesome nets. I was like, those are sweet, but I'm not hauling around a 3 foot net with me to the court. So like I need it. I was like, I need
Right.
something that fits in my backpack, super small, convenient, and something that pops up quick because I don't want to spend 5 minutes putting together a net. I need it to pop up in 10 seconds so I can hurry and practice. And then when the court's ready, I don't have to be like, oh, wait, I'm taking my net down. I can put it away quick and easy too. So that's what kind of led to the thought of, hey, we need this. So I started working with my brother-in-law, who's a designer, and others to figure out what's an option to satisfy this need for myself, of course.
Yeah.
And so we came up with this pop-up net, quick and easy. It took a while. It took about a year of development to figure out, and then finding manufacturing was a whole nother story. But we got there and we got it produced. And so it was for me, first and foremost, for my use. But then I was like, you know what? This is cool. I think people would want to buy this. So we started the Dinkaroo brand, and we just launched last September, and we're growing now, and trying to get to a point where this right now it's a side gig, but hopefully someday it'll become a full time job for me.
Yeah, I've reviewed a lot of stuff, including some mini nets, and this thing is above and beyond anything that I've seen out there. It is so cool. Like you mentioned, it is so quick. The engineering behind it is genius because it is
Mm-hmm.
up, down, back in your bag. It's that big.
Yep.
And it's like you mentioned, it's great for actually preventing injuries because you get the blood flowing. You're not just sitting on a
Yep.
bench, you pop up, you pull something, boom, you're out. You get to actually kind of get your hands going. You can get your body moving. And, I know you partnered with Edward Beezer. You get the Beezer
Yep.
ball out. You can do so much with this that, when I get new products, a lot of people are like, oh, it's cool. And, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I don't think you understand what this is. And then I
Mm-hmm.
pop it out and it opens like just sort of like those games you would make, like those out of paper, and you would kind of do this, and it would
Yep.
open up and do all the. And boom, you got this net, and they're literally like people. When every time I do it, people are like, "How did that become this?" And then it just slides down, and boom, and I put it away, and they're like, "Oh my god!" That's
Yep.
what's the best part about it for me is just it's so fast and it's really cool looking. Like when I did the
Mm-hmm.
review for it, I have a little footbridge. I literally set it up on my footbridge, and you can just hit back and forth. You can put it anywhere. You can be out hiking and have it in your backpack. And if you're bored and you're sitting around waiting for somebody to finish their lunch with somebody, you can pull it out then. I guarantee you will see these things in airports between people that go to pickleball tournaments while they're waiting for their flight.
Definite,
So
definite possibility.
Absolutely. So, I mean, congratulations on,
Thank you.
on that end of it. I think you're just sort of scratching the surface of what this really could be,
Mhm.
because it's one of those things where you can make your own sort of games with it as well, which is, kind of fun too.
Exactly. It really increases accessibility, like you're saying, when it comes to
Yeah.
practicing the sport. We've had people, we've had a great response from the overall pickleball community across the
Yeah.
world even, and we've had some fun videos of people practicing in the lobby, while they're waiting for something, or
Right.
even there we have some videos of people hitting the bathroom. I mean, a little ridiculous, but still funny to see, getting a little
Yeah.
fast hands practice in the bathroom or whatever, wherever suits your spot to get some pickleball practice in. But definitely fun. What I love about it too is one of the reviews actually recently we had was a lady came on and she said, I want to get into pickleball, but it's intimidating for me to go to the court. And I don't have a huge yard. I don't have space for a full size net. But this is a perfect product for me to set up in my backyard on the patio. I have a little patio and practice.
Yeah.
So she just spoke up to how she was able to practice with the net and then feel more confident. So when she went to the court, she's like, okay, I've hit a ball before. It's not my first time. I actually feel a little ready for it. So,
That's an excellent
great
point.
for pros to warm up before the tournament or in between matches to even beginners, just learning how to hit the ball over the net. So.
Yeah, build up a little confidence, get your self-esteem out there going a little bit prior to actually stepping out there with some other people. Yeah, that's a great point. I interview people that create products all the time, and I think, people see these products and they're like, oh, wow, that was pretty simple. Why didn't I come up with that? But they never quite get the backstory of the prototypes and the
Yeah.
designs and the failures and, all that stuff. Can you take us a little bit about kind of the time process that it took and some of the things that you had to overcome and to make
Mm-hmm.
something that is really simple, but it was not simple to make?
No, it's, like you say, it's a simple idea, it's a simple thing, but to get there, like you're saying, does take time and effort, especially because there's so many different variables. So, we had some design support from, family members, lots of input from friends and everything on what makes sense, what works. So a lot of it's, I started with the idea and ran it by
Yeah.
people and got a lot of feedback, which was super helpful. Got some design help, and then once we kind of had an idea, we went through different iterations of what we thought would work. At first, we wanted to have a really big pop-up net, not a full-size net, but as big as possible.
Yeah.
And then we were talking to, as you ask people about what they think would work, well, there are those, right? And you need it to be able to fit in the backpack. So you
Yeah.
start answering those questions of what is the brand and what do you really want this to be, right? What's that target
Right.
audience, the target product that you're looking for? So we narrowed it down to be like, okay, we don't need this to be 8 feet or 10 feet big, large. That's a
Right.
size, that's a court. We need this to fit on a sidewalk. So we were able to nail that down, which really helped us tweak our design on what is the right size
Yeah.
and functionality. So we knew it needed to be pop up, but it took a good year of back and forth trying to figure out what we wanted. And then, once we got to the point where we had it developed and built in our CAD programs, even then finding someone to build it. We went to lots of different shops in the US, different countries, but finding a manufacturer that could produce it, which then also
Right.
changed the design a little bit because, the different manufacturers
Sure.
have different capabilities. And, we really lucked out with finding an awesome factory that was able to take our vision and adopt it to what they could do. And when they sent us the first sample, we're like, yep, this is what we've been envisioning. This is exactly what we wanted. And right from there, we ordered our first 300 nets, which we've sold
Sure.
out those months ago, and we've ordered a few more orders from them since then. And but it is a process. I mean, we've been open since September. We sold our first net, but it was over a year before that when we first were really starting down the process.
Yeah, and I think that's what people need to kind of hear and see because everybody has ideas, and
Yep.
some really good ones. But to implement those and then to follow through and then to stick with it, because there's clearly ups and downs to this whole process, and I'm sure there's times
Yep.
you question yourself like, what am I doing?
It's
Is this
true.
going to actually happen? And then to finally get that satisfaction of getting something that you go, this is what I envisioned, and then to sell your first one. Those
Yeah.
are probably some pretty big moments. I said the same thing to Edward Beezer. I said, you may have created a new sport, and I envision like literally. I think you mentioned sidewalk pickleball. I think it would actually be a pretty little cool neighborhood game where you could put this on a sidewalk. Sometimes the sidewalks they're divided already. They already have the lines for it,
Yep.
between each block, and you have these beezer balls. Or you could do it with a beezer, you could do it with a regular ball, but you have the net that fits perfectly in the side of a sidewalk. With next thing you
Mhm.
know, man, you got your own sport.
Yeah, it's very true.
Commissioner
We're
Michael
playing with
White.
lots of different ideas and different opportunities, but again, it's opening access to the sport itself, and no matter how you use it, it will improve your game when you get out on the full size court.
Yeah,
Ed Beezer has been awesome to collaborate with. He's also a local Salt Lake Valley business here in Utah,
right.
and we connected pretty early on. Since both of us are from Utah, it was nice to connect.
Yeah,
Over phone and video chat and things like that. But the Beezer Ball's been awesome to collaborate with. But to your point, these are unique training aids and products to help just either spread some fun or even get better. So it's been fun to collaborate with him, and I actually get to meet Ed. I haven't met him in person yet. So
oh,
he's
okay.
he's hosting a mini pickleball dinking tournament tonight. So I'll be headed over there tonight to meet Ed and participate in that tournament. So looking forward to it.
Cool. Yeah, well, tell him I said, hey, he was a fun
Yeah,
interview as well. Very sweet gentleman, just like yourself.
for
Before we
sure.
get you out of here, obviously about just over halfway into 2025, got 2026 coming up. Got some ideas, got some goals. What do you want to see happen with the Dinkaroo?
With the Dinkaroo, want to continue to see just awareness with, huge shout out and thank you to having me on today, just spreading the word about the product and what it does and what its capabilities are. We are exploring, I mean, you mentioned some, playing around the neighborhood. We are exploring some little micro games or some micro pickleball opportunities
Fun
that will
stuff.
probably release some other, additive product lines or things too. We are exploring that now, so keep in touch because we might have some fun things coming in the near future. But that's kind of what we're doing, just spreading the word and getting some extra pickleball in.
Absolutely. Building the sport we all love. Michael White,
Yep.
one of the guy behind the Dinkaroo, dinkaroo.net. Links in the description for discounts as well. Thank you for your time. And again, congratulations. Fantastic, fantastic product.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the time today as well.
Hope you enjoyed our conversation with Michael. Hey, get yourself a Dinkaroo. Discounts. Check them out below. And get out there and have some fun because, you can do a lot of things off court, and the Dinkaroo is a perfect tool for that. All right, folks, you know what to do at the end of the day. Let's pickle.